Marcus Thompson sat at his desk in his home office, staring at the email on his screen. His heart beat a little faster as he read the message for the third time. Vertex Solutions wanted to schedule a final interview with him. This was it. This was the last step before they would decide if he got the job. He had been working in software engineering for 10 years now. He was 32 years old and had built a strong career. He had worked at some of the best tech companies in the country. His resume was full of impressive projects and achievements, but he was ready for something new. He wanted a senior developer position where he could lead a team and make important decisions. Vertex Solutions seemed like the perfect fit. The company was based in Austin, Texas, and had been growing fast. They built software for healthcare companies. Marcus had researched them carefully. Their products looked solid. Their employee reviews were mostly positive. The salary range was excellent. 2 weeks earlier, Marcus had gone through a technical interview with the hiring manager, a woman named Sarah Chen. She was smart and asked good questions. Marcus had answered every technical challenge she threw at him. They talked about coding languages, system architecture, and problem-solving approaches. Sarah seemed impressed. At the end of that call, she smiled and said she wanted to move forward with him. "You're exactly what we're looking for," Sarah had told him. "I just need you to do one more interview with our HR team. It's just a cultural fit conversation, nothing technical. They'll ask about your work style and how you collaborate with teams." Marcus had felt confident then. He still felt confident now. Cultural fit interviews were usually easy. He was a team player. He communicated well. He had great references from his previous managers. What could go wrong? He clicked the reply button and confirmed the interview time. Friday at 2 p.m, 3 days from now. He would be meeting with 3 people from the HR department: Jennifer Walsh, who was the HR director, Brad Morrison, the recruitment lead, and Katie Stevens, an HR coordinator. Marcus told his wife Andrea about the interview that evening over dinner. They sat at their kitchen table in their small but comfortable house. Their 2 children, ages 5 and 7, were playing in the living room. "This could be it," Marcus said, excitement in his voice. "If this interview goes well, I think they'll make me an offer." Andrea smiled at him. She had always supported his career. She knew how hard he worked. "You're going to do great," she said. "You always do." "I hope so," Marcus said. "The money would be really good. We could finally fix the roof. Maybe take the kids on a real vacation." "Don't get ahead of yourself," Andrea laughed. "But yes, that would be nice." The next few days passed slowly. Marcus prepared for the interview the way he always did. He researched the company more. He looked up the 3 HR people on LinkedIn. Jennifer Walsh had been with Vertex for 5 years. Brad Morrison had joined 2 years ago. Katie Stevens was newer, only 6 months at the company. He thought about questions they might ask. "Why do you want to work here? What's your management style? How do you handle conflict with coworkers?" He practiced his answers in his head. Friday came. Marcus woke up feeling nervous but ready. He spent the morning doing regular work at his current job. He had not told his current employer that he was interviewing elsewhere. That was normal. People did not usually share that information until they had a firm offer. At 1:30, Marcus went to his home office and closed the door. He changed into a nice button-down shirt. He kept his casual pants on since only his top half would show on camera. He tested his camera and microphone. Everything worked fine. His background looked professional. Just his bookshelf and a plain wall. At 1:55, Marcus clicked the Zoom link. His heart was beating faster now. He took a deep breath and let it out slowly. He had done dozens of these interviews before. This was just another one. The screen showed a waiting room message. "Please wait. The host will let you in soon." Marcus waited. He checked his hair in the small video box that showed his own image. He looked good, professional, confident. At exactly 2 o'clock, the screen changed. He was admitted to the call. 3 faces appeared on his screen. They were all white. Marcus noticed this but thought nothing of it. Most tech companies were not very diverse. That was just the reality of the industry. "Hello, Marcus," said a woman with blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore a dark blazer and smiled at the camera. "I'm Jennifer Walsh, the HR director here at Vertex. Thanks so much for joining us today." "Thank you for having me," Marcus said, smiling back. "This is Brad Morrison, our recruitment lead," Jennifer said, gesturing to a man in his 40s with short brown hair and a gray suit. Brad nodded at the camera but did not smile much. And this is Katie Stevens, one of our HR coordinators, Jennifer continued. A younger woman with red hair and glasses gave a small wave. She looked like she might be in her late 20s. Great to meet all of you, Marcus said. He kept his voice warm and friendly. So Marcus, we've heard wonderful things from Sarah about your technical interview. Jennifer began. She was really impressed with your skills and experience. That's great to hear, Marcus said. I really enjoyed talking with her. The projects you're working on sound exciting. We think so too, Jennifer said. Today we just want to get to know you a bit better as a person. Understand how you work with teams, what kind of environment you thrive in, that sort of thing. Absolutely, Marcus said. I'm happy to talk about that. Brad spoke up for the first time. His voice was flat and businesslike. Tell us about a time when you had a conflict with a coworker. How did you handle it? Marcus had expected this question. He launched into a story about a previous job where he and another developer had disagreed about the best way to solve a technical problem. He explained how they had both presented their ideas, looked at the data, and found a solution that combined the best parts of both approaches. Good communication is key, Marcus said. I always try to listen to other perspectives and find common ground. The three HR people nodded. Katie typed some notes on her laptop. Jennifer asked the next question. What kind of work culture do you prefer? What makes you most productive? Marcus talked about his preference for collaborative environments. He liked working with teams where people helped each other and shared knowledge. He appreciated clear communication from leadership. He valued work-life balance but was also willing to put in extra hours when projects needed it. The interview continued like this for about 15 minutes. The questions were standard. Marcus gave good answers. He was starting to relax. This was going well. Then Jennifer said something that changed everything. Marcus, if you could just hold on for one moment, she said. We need to confer about something quickly. We'll be right back with you. Sure, no problem, Marcus said. The three HR people seemed to huddle together. Their video screens moved slightly. Marcus assumed they were putting him in a breakout room or muting him while they talked privately. But his screen did not change. He could still see all three of them clearly. He could hear them too. At first, Marcus thought they would realize the mistake and fix it. He was about to speak up and tell them he could still hear them. But then Brad started talking. And what he said made Marcus freeze in his chair. Marcus's hand moved toward his keyboard. His fingers were shaking. He opened his screen recording software. He clicked the button to start recording. He needed proof of what was about to happen. Marcus sat completely still in his chair. His screen recording software was running now. The red dot in the corner showed it was capturing everything. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. The three HR people on his screen had no idea he could see and hear them. They thought they had muted him or moved him to a waiting room. But they had made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Brad Morrison spoke first. He leaned back in his chair with a smug look on his face. I don't know about this guy, he said. Jennifer Walsh tilted her head. What do you mean? His resume is solid. Sarah loved him. Yeah, but come on, Brad said. He glanced at something off screen. Marcus Thompson. Of course that's his name. They always have names like that. Marcus felt his stomach drop. What did he just say? What did Brad mean by they always have names like that? Katie Stevens shifted uncomfortably in her video box. She did not say anything. She just looked down at her notebook. Jennifer laughed. Actually laughed. Brad, stop it, she said. But her tone was playful, not serious. She was not really telling him to stop. I'm serious, Brad continued. Do we really want to go down this road? You know what happens. We hire one, then we have to hire more. It becomes a whole thing. Marcus felt like he could not breathe. His hands gripped the edge of his desk. He wanted to scream. He wanted to interrupt them. But something told him to stay quiet. To let them keep talking. To get it all on video. The technical skills are there, Jennifer said. She was looking at papers in front of her. Probably Marcus's resume. Sarah said he aced every question. Of course he did, Brad said with a snort. They probably gave him special prep. Or maybe he had help. You never know these days. What are you trying to say? Jennifer asked. But her smile showed she knew exactly what Brad was saying. Brad leaned forward. I'm saying we need to think about culture fit. Our team is solid right now. Everyone gets along. Everyone fits. Do we really want to mess with that? Sarah seems to think he'd fit in fine, Jennifer said. Sarah doesn't have to work with him every day, Brad shot back. We do. And honestly, look at him. Brad gestured at his screen, presumably at the image of Marcus that he thought was muted. Does he look like he belongs at Vertex? Katie finally spoke up. Her voice was quiet. His experience is really good, though. 10 years at top companies. Diversity hire at those places, Brad said dismissively. They all do it now. They have to meet quotas. It doesn't mean anything. Marcus felt tears starting to form in his eyes, not from sadness, from pure rage. He had worked so hard his entire career. Every job he had ever gotten, he had earned. Every promotion, every success he had achieved through his own skill and effort. And this man was saying it meant nothing. Jennifer sighed. Look, I hear what you're saying, Brad, but we do need to be careful. We can't be too obvious about this. I'm not saying we tell him no because of that, Brad said. I'm saying we find another reason. His salary requirements are too high. He's not the right fit. He wants too much remote work, whatever. We can always find a reason. We have 3 other candidates, Katie said softly. That guy from Denver was good, and the woman from California. Exactly, Brad said, pointing at Katie like she had made his point for him. We have options. Good options. Why take a risk on Marcus? He said the name with a mocking tone that made Marcus want to punch through his screen. Jennifer tapped her pen on her desk. I mean, you're not wrong. The last thing we need is someone coming in here with an attitude. You know how some of them can be. Always complaining about diversity and inclusion. Making everything about race. Brad nodded hard. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. We had that problem 2 years ago with that guy in marketing. What was his name? Jamal? Katie said quietly. Right, Jamal, Brad said. He was always going to HR about every little thing. Said people were being racist when really he just couldn't handle feedback. We ended up having to let him go. It was a whole nightmare. Marcus remembered Sarah mentioning that Vertex had some turnover in recent years. Now he understood why. Jennifer looked thoughtful. We probably should have at least one, for appearances. But maybe in a different department. Not in engineering where they have to interact with clients. Brad made a face. I don't know why we have to play these games. Back when I started in tech, you just hired the best person. Now it's all about checking boxes and making sure you have the right mix of, I know, Jennifer agreed. But that's the world we live in now. Everyone is so sensitive about everything. Katie had not said much. She kept looking down. Her face showed she was uncomfortable, but she was not speaking up. She was not stopping this conversation. So what do we tell Sarah? Brad asked. She's going to push back if we pass on him. Jennifer thought for a moment. We tell her that after talking to him, we don't think he's the right culture fit. We can say his communication style didn't quite match what we're looking for. Or that we got a weird vibe from him, something subjective that she can't really argue with. Perfect, Brad said. Subjective is always the way to go. What about his references? Katie asked. If Sarah calls them, they'll probably say good things. Doesn't matter, Jennifer said. Culture fit is our call, not Sarah's. She gets a say on technical skills. We decide who fits with the company values. Brad laughed. Yeah, and he definitely doesn't fit our values. He used air quotes around the word values. All 3 of them chuckled at that. Katie's laugh was nervous and weak, but she laughed. Marcus felt sick. His whole body was shaking now. 3 minutes. They had been saying these things for 3 minutes, and he had recorded every second of it. He watched as Jennifer looked at her watch. Okay, we should probably bring him back before he gets suspicious. Right, Brad said. Let me put on my professional face. He straightened up in his chair and adjusted his tie. He smiled a fake smile at his camera. Katie closed her notebook and tried to compose herself. Ready? Jennifer asked. Ready, Brad confirmed. Jennifer reached for something on her computer. A button. The button that would bring Marcus back into the conversation. Marcus quickly stopped his screen recording and saved the file. He took one deep breath and forced his face to relax. He had to pretend he had heard nothing. He had to finish this interview like a professional. The screen changed slightly. Jennifer's face came back into focus, now looking directly at Marcus. Sorry about that, Marcus, she said with a bright smile. Just had to check on something quickly. Thanks for your patience. Marcus looked directly at the camera. His voice was calm and steady, even though inside he was screaming. "No problem at all. So where were we?" Jennifer asked, looking at her notes like nothing had happened. "I think you were asking about work culture," Marcus said. Right, Jennifer said. "Well, I think we've covered most of what we needed to discuss today. Do you have any questions for us?" Marcus had many questions, but none of them were the type they expected. He asked about the company's growth plans. He asked about the team structure. He asked about professional development opportunities. He made himself sound interested and engaged. The whole time, Brad barely looked at the camera. Katie kept her eyes on her notes. Jennifer smiled and gave polite answers to his questions. After 10 more minutes, Jennifer wrapped up the call. "Well, Marcus, thank you so much for your time today. We'll be making our decision early next week. You should hear from us soon." "Thank you all for the opportunity," Marcus said. "I look forward to hearing from you." "Have a great weekend," Jennifer said. "You too," Marcus replied. He clicked the button to leave the meeting. The three faces disappeared from his screen. Marcus sat in complete silence. His home office felt too small suddenly. The walls seemed to close in. He stared at the blank screen where their faces had been just seconds ago. His hands were still shaking. He opened the folder where his screen recording had saved. The file was there. 12 minutes and 37 seconds long. He clicked play and watched it again. Hearing their words a second time was somehow worse than the first time. Marcus closed his laptop and put his head in his hands. He sat like that for several minutes, trying to process what had just happened. Then he heard the front door open downstairs. Andrea was home from work. He stood up on shaky legs and walked out of his office. He went down the stairs slowly. His wife was in the kitchen setting down her purse and keys. "Hey, honey," she called out when she heard him. "How did the interview go?" She turned and looked at his face. Her smile disappeared immediately. "Marcus, what happened? Are you okay?" He walked over to her and just stood there for a moment. He did not know how to say it, how to explain what he had just experienced. "I need to show you something," he finally said. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. "Flat, empty, what is it?" Andrea asked. Worry filled her eyes now. "Come upstairs," Marcus said. "You need to see this." They walked up to his office together. Marcus opened his laptop and found the video file. He clicked play. Andrea stood behind his chair and watched. Marcus did not watch the screen this time. He watched his wife's face instead. He saw her eyes widen. He saw her hand cover her mouth. He saw the shock turn to anger. The video ended. Andrea stood in silence for a long moment. Then she exploded. "What the hell?" she shouted. What the actual hell? Who do these people think they are? Marcus just sat there. He had been holding everything in during the interview. Now watching Andrea's anger, he felt his own rage bubbling up again. "I can't believe this," Andrea continued. She was pacing now back and forth across the small office. "Did that really just happen? Please tell me this is some kind of sick joke." "It's real," Marcus said quietly. "I recorded the whole thing." Andrea stopped pacing and looked at him. "You have to do something. You can't just let this go." "I know," Marcus said, but he felt tired suddenly, so tired, like all the energy had drained out of his body. "What are you going to do?" Andrea asked. That was the question. What was he going to do? Part of Marcus wanted to forget about it, to delete the video and move on, to just find another job somewhere else. Life was easier that way, safer. But another part of him, a bigger part, knew he could not do that. If he stayed silent, they would do this to someone else. Another black candidate would walk into that interview room and get rejected for reasons that had nothing to do with their skills. And that person might never know why. "I don't know yet," Marcus admitted. "I need to think." They went downstairs. The kids were home from school now, playing video games in the living room. Marcus and Andrea went to the kitchen where they could talk privately. "You should sue them," Andrea said. She was still angry. Her hand shook as she poured herself a glass of water. "This is discrimination. It's illegal. You have proof." "I know," Marcus said. He sat down at the kitchen table. His whole body felt heavy, but Andrea knew there was more he was not saying. Marcus sighed. "But if I sue, my name gets out there. Everyone in the tech industry will know about it. Some people will see me as a troublemaker, someone who sues companies. It could hurt my career." "Your career?" Andrea's voice rose. "Marcus, these people said horrible things about you. About your name, your race, everything. And you're worried about your career?" Yes, Marcus said honestly. I have to worry about my career. We have a mortgage. We have kids. I need to keep working. Andrea sat down across from him. Her anger softened a bit. I know, I'm sorry. I know this is complicated. They sat in silence for a while. The sounds of the kids' video game drifted in from the other room. I need advice, Marcus finally said. I need to talk to someone who has been through something like this. He thought of James Williams. James was 15 years older than Marcus and had worked in tech his whole career. He was a senior executive at a major software company now. James had been Marcus's mentor for years. They met through a professional networking group for black engineers. Marcus picked up his phone and texted James. Can we talk? Something happened. The reply came back in less than a minute. Call me now. Marcus went back to his office and called. James answered on the first ring. What's wrong? James asked. He could tell from Marcus's text that this was serious. Marcus told him everything. The interview. The recording. What they had said. As he talked, he felt his emotions rising again. His voice cracked a few times. James listened without interrupting. When Marcus finished, there was a long pause. Do you still have the recording? James finally asked. Yes, Marcus said. Good, James said. Don't delete it. Back it up in multiple places. Cloud storage, external hard drive, everything. Okay, Marcus said. He was already opening his laptop to do that. Now listen to me carefully, James continued. His voice was serious and steady. You have to decide what you want out of this. Do you want money? Do you want justice? Do you want to change things? Because each of those paths looks different. Marcus thought about that. I don't know. Maybe all of them? You can't have all of them, James said. If you just want money, you get a lawyer and you negotiate a quiet settlement. They pay you to go away and keep quiet. You sign a paper saying you won't talk about it. That's one option. I don't want that, Marcus said immediately. He was surprised by how sure he felt. Okay, James said. If you want justice and change, that's harder. That means you have to make this public. You file complaints with the government. You might sue, but you don't settle quietly. You let people know what happened. But I'm going to be real with you, Marcus. That path is painful. People will attack you. Some will say you're lying or exaggerating. Some will say you're just trying to get money. Your name will be everywhere. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. But it's the right thing to do. Maybe, James said. But you have to decide if you're ready for it. Talk to Andrea. Think about your family. This will affect all of you. They talked for another 30 minutes. James told him stories of other people he knew who had faced discrimination. Some had sued. Some had stayed quiet. Each decision had consequences. Before they hung up, James gave him one more piece of advice. Whatever you decide, do it with your eyes open. Don't be naive about what you're getting into. And get a good lawyer. Not just any lawyer. Someone who specializes in employment discrimination. After the call, Marcus did more research. He looked up employment lawyers in Texas. He read reviews and case histories. He found several who seemed qualified. One name kept coming up. Michelle Rodriguez. She was a Latina woman who had built her career on discrimination cases. Her website showed dozens of successful cases. Companies had paid millions in settlements. And more importantly, she had helped change policies at several major corporations. Marcus sent her an email explaining the situation briefly. He did not expect a response right away. It was Friday evening now, but Michelle replied within an hour. I'd like to speak with you. Can you come to my office Monday morning? Marcus confirmed. He had a meeting scheduled for Monday at 9. That evening, after the kids were in bed, Marcus and Andrea talked more. They sat on their back porch under the stars. I want to do this, Marcus said. I want to fight back. But I'm scared. Andrea took his hand. I'm scared too. But I'm also proud of you. Those people were wrong. What they said was disgusting. Someone needs to stand up to them. Even if it makes things harder for us? Marcus asked. Even then, Andrea said firmly, we'll figure it out. We always do. The weekend passed slowly. Marcus told his best friend about what happened. He also reached out to David Park, a guy he used to work with who now worked at Vertex in a different department. Marcus wanted to know if this was normal there. David called him back Saturday afternoon. Man, I heard rumors about the HR team, David said. Nothing specific. Just that they were difficult. Some people said the company wasn't as diverse as it should be for a reason. Did you ever experience anything? Marcus asked. I'm Korean American, David said. I've had a few comments here and there. Microaggressions, you know? But nothing like what you're describing. That's next level. Do you think I should go forward with this? Marcus asked. David was quiet for a moment. That's your call, man. But if you do, I'll back you up. I'll tell people what I know about the culture there. You're not alone in this. That meant a lot to Marcus. Having someone inside the company who would support him made him feel less isolated. Sunday evening, Marcus prepared for his meeting with Michelle Rodriguez. He organized all his documents. His resume, the job posting, his email communications with Vertex, screenshots of his LinkedIn messages, and of course the video recording. He watched the video again. It was still as bad as the first time. Actually worse, because now he knew what these people thought of him. Before the interview, they had just been names on a screen. HR people doing their jobs. Now they were people who had said hateful things about him. Marcus barely slept Sunday night. His mind kept spinning. What would the lawyer say? Would she take his case? What would happen next? Monday morning came. Marcus told his current job he had a doctor's appointment and would be in late. He drove to Michelle Rodriguez's office in downtown Austin. Her office was in a modern building with a lot of glass. Professional but not too fancy. The waiting room had comfortable chairs and art on the walls. A receptionist greeted him. Mr. Thompson, Michelle is ready for you. Marcus followed her down a hallway to a corner office. Michelle Rodriguez stood up from her desk when he entered. She was in her 40s, dressed in a sharp business suit. She had an air of confidence that immediately put Marcus at ease. Marcus, thank you for coming in, she said, shaking his hand. Please, sit down. They sat across from each other. Michelle had a legal pad in front of her and a pen in her hand. Tell me everything, she said. Marcus told her the whole story again. He showed her the video on his laptop. Michelle watched it without expression. When it ended, she sat back in her chair. This is clear-cut, she said. What they did is illegal. This is employment discrimination based on race. It's a violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. So you'll take my case? Marcus asked. I need to ask you some questions first, Michelle said. And you need to understand what you're getting into. For the next hour, Michelle asked questions. She took notes. She asked about his employment history, about any previous complaints he had made, about his relationship with his current employer, about his family situation. Then she laid out his options. Option 1, she said. We file a complaint with the EEOC. That's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It's a federal agency that handles discrimination complaints. We're required to do that before we can sue. The EOC will investigate. Sometimes they negotiate settlements. Sometimes they don't find enough evidence to act, but then you get what's called a right to sue letter and you can file a lawsuit yourself. How long does that take? Marcus asked. Months, sometimes over a year, Michelle said. The EOC is backlogged. That's a long time, Marcus said. It is, Michelle agreed. But it's necessary. That's the legal process. What's option 2? Marcus asked. Michelle leaned forward. Option 2 is that we also make this public. We file the EOC complaint, but we don't wait quietly. We share your story. We post the recording. We talk to the media. We put pressure on Vertex to make real changes, not just settle with you quietly. Marcus felt his heart rate increase. What would that be like? Intense, Michelle said honestly. The video will go viral. Everyone will have an opinion. Some people will support you. Some will attack you. Vertex will probably issue statements. Their lawyers will try to spin this. You'll get interview requests from news outlets. Your phone will blow up. Your social media will explode. It's overwhelming. But it would make a difference? Marcus asked. It could, Michelle said. Public pressure sometimes creates change that lawsuits alone don't. Companies care about their reputation. If this gets big enough, Vertex will have to respond. They might fire those HR people. They might change their policies. Other companies might pay attention and examine their own practices. Marcus sat back in his chair. His head was spinning. I can't tell you what to do, Michelle said gently. This is your decision. Your life, your career. But I will tell you this. You have evidence that most people never get. That recording is powerful. You could help a lot of people by sharing it. Or I could ruin my career, Marcus said quietly. Maybe, Michelle admitted. Some people might see you as a troublemaker, but others will see you as brave. And honestly, Marcus, do you want to work for companies that would hold this against you? Would those be good places for you anyway? That was a good point. Marcus left Michelle Rodriguez's office with a lot to think about. She had given him the week to decide what he wanted to do. File the complaint and stay quiet, or file the complaint and go public. Either way, she would represent him. But she needed to know which path he wanted to take. He drove home feeling both empowered and terrified. He had options. He had a good lawyer. He had evidence. But he also had a life to protect, a family to think about. Andrea was waiting when he got home. The kids were at school. She had taken the morning off work so they could talk. What did she say? Andrea asked before Marcus even sat down. He told her everything. The EOC process. The timeline. The two options Michelle had presented. When he finished, Andrea was quiet for a long time. She stared out the kitchen window at their backyard. Finally, she spoke. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I don't know," Marcus admitted. "Part of me wants to just file the complaint and move on. Get it over with quietly. But another part of me is angry. Really angry. These people should not get away with this." "Then don't let them," Andrea said simply. "But what about my career? What about us?" Marcus asked. Andrea turned to look at him. "Marcus, you've always taught our kids to stand up for what's right. To speak up when they see something wrong. How can we tell them that if you stay silent now?" Marcus felt tears starting to form. She was right. He knew she was right, but I'm scared, he admitted. "I know," Andrea said. She came over and hugged him. "I'm scared too. But we'll get through this together." "We always do." That evening, Marcus made a decision. He called Michelle and told her he wanted to go public. He wanted to file the EEOC complaint and share his story. "Are you sure?" Michelle asked. "Take more time if you need it." "I'm sure," Marcus said. His voice was steady now. "Let's do this." "Okay," Michelle said. "I'll start preparing the paperwork. We'll file the EEOC complaint first. Then we'll decide the best way to share your story." Over the next few days, Marcus and Michelle worked on the complaint. It was a detailed document that described everything that happened. The job posting, the application process, the interviews, the recording, the discrimination. On Wednesday, they filed the complaint with the EEOC. Marcus felt both relief and anxiety. It was done. There was no going back now. Thursday night, Marcus sat down at his computer. He opened LinkedIn. His hand shook a little as he began to type a post. He wrote about what happened. He explained that he had applied for a job at Vertex Solutions. He described the interview process. He told people about the cultural fit interview that had gone so wrong. Then he wrote the hardest part. He described what the HR team had said when they thought he could not hear them. He did not hold back. He included their comments about his name, about diversity hires, about not wanting his type in their office. He explained how they had laughed and joked about finding reasons to reject him. At the bottom of his post, Marcus included a link to the video recording. He had uploaded it to a file-sharing site where anyone could watch it. His last paragraph was simple. "I am sharing this because I believe companies need to be held accountable. Discrimination is still happening in tech hiring. It happened to me. It has probably happened to many others. I refuse to stay silent." Marcus read over the post 3 times. His finger hovered over the post button. "You can do this," Andrea said. She was sitting next to him, reading over his shoulder. Marcus took a deep breath and clicked the button. The post went live. For the first few minutes, nothing happened. Marcus refreshed the page. No likes, no comments, no shares. Then one person liked it. Then another. Then someone shared it. Within an hour, the post had 100 likes and 20 comments. People were watching the video and reacting with shock and anger. Within 3 hours, it had 1,000 likes and hundreds of comments. People were sharing it on other platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. By the time Marcus went to bed that night, his phone was buzzing nonstop with notifications. He turned it off and tried to sleep. He could not. Friday morning was chaos. Marcus woke up to discover his LinkedIn post had gone viral. It had been shared over 10,000 times. The video had been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. His phone showed 47 missed calls. His email inbox had over 300 new messages. News reporters wanted interviews. Other tech workers wanted to share their own stories. Some messages were supportive, some were hateful, Marcus felt overwhelmed. He called Michelle. "Don't respond to anyone yet," she advised. "Let me handle the media requests. We'll pick one or two good outlets to talk to. Ignore the hateful messages. Don't read the comments if you can help it." But Marcus could not help it. He read some of the comments. Most were supportive. People thanked him for speaking up. They shared similar experiences. They called for Vertex Solutions to be held accountable, but some comments were awful. People accused him of lying. Some said he was just trying to get money. Some used racial slurs. Some said he was being too sensitive and that the HR team was just joking around. Those comments hurt. Marcus knew they would come, but seeing them was still painful. By Friday afternoon, the story had been picked up by major tech news websites. Articles appeared on TechCrunch, The Verge, and Wired. Twitter was exploding with discussions about discrimination in tech hiring, and Vertex Solutions was getting destroyed online. Their LinkedIn page was flooded with angry comments. People were demanding answers. Their Glassdoor reviews suddenly had dozens of one-star ratings. People who had never even worked there were leaving reviews about the racist HR team. Robert Hutchinson, the CEO of Vertex Solutions, was at a tech conference in San Francisco when his world exploded. His assistant called him in a panic. "Sir, you need to see this," she said. "There's a video. It's everywhere." Robert pulled out his laptop and found Marcus's LinkedIn post. He watched the video. His face went pale. "Get me on the next flight back to Austin," he told his assistant. "Cancel all my meetings. Call an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning." Robert spent the flight back trying to understand what had happened. How had this gone so wrong? He prided himself on running a good company. Sure, they had some turnover, but every company did. He thought his HR team was professional. He had been so wrong. When Robert landed in Austin Friday evening, he went straight to the office. Even though it was late, he called Jennifer Walsh, Brad Morrison, and Katie Stevens. He told all three of them to come in immediately. They arrived within an hour. Robert could see the fear on their faces. They knew they were in trouble. "What the hell happened?" Robert asked. He did not yell. His voice was cold and controlled, which was somehow worse. Jennifer started to explain. "It was a mistake. We didn't realize he could still hear us. The Zoom settings—" "I don't care about the Zoom settings," Robert interrupted. "I care about what you said. Were you joking? Tell me you were joking." The three of them looked at each other. No one spoke. "Answer me," Robert demanded. "We were just talking," Brad finally said. "We didn't mean anything by it." "You didn't mean anything?" Robert's voice rose now. "You made racist comments about a job candidate. You laughed about not wanting to hire black people. You talked about finding fake reasons to reject him, and you didn't mean anything by it." "It wasn't like that," Jennifer tried to explain. "We were discussing culture fit." "By saying he doesn't look like he belongs here?" Robert shot back. "By calling his accomplishments diversity hires? That's your idea of discussing culture fit?" Katie started crying. "I'm sorry," she said. "I should have said something. I should have stopped them." Robert looked at her. "Yes, you should have." He turned to his head of legal, who was also in the room. "What's our exposure here?" The lawyer looked grim. "Significant. This is a clear-cut discrimination case. And now it's public. We're going to get destroyed in the media. I expect we'll lose clients. Maybe investors. The EOC will investigate. We might face lawsuits. This is bad." Robert put his head in his hands. His company that he had built over 10 years was being torn apart because three people could not keep their bigoted thoughts to themselves. "I'm placing all three of you on immediate administrative leave," Robert said. "Effective right now, go home. Don't talk to anyone about this. Don't post anything on social media. Don't call anyone at the company. We'll be conducting an investigation." "You can't do this," Brad protested. "You're overreacting." "I'm overreacting." Robert's face turned red. "You cost this company millions of dollars in reputation damage in less than 24 hours. We're trending on Twitter for being racist. Our clients are calling asking what's going on. And you think I'm overreacting?" Brad shut up. "Get out," Robert said. "All of you. I'll have HR, real HR, not you, contact you about the investigation." The three of them left. Katie was still crying. Jennifer looked angry. Brad looked defiant. After they left, Robert and his legal team worked through the night. They needed a statement, something that showed they took this seriously, something that would stop the bleeding. At midnight, Vertex Solutions posted a statement on their website and social media. We are aware of a video circulating that involves members of our HR team. We take these allegations extremely seriously. The individuals involved have been placed on immediate administrative leave pending a full investigation. We do not tolerate discrimination of any kind at Vertex Solutions. We are committed to fostering an inclusive workplace. The statement did nothing to calm the anger. People online tore it apart. They said it was too vague, too corporate, too much like every other company statement that meant nothing. Immediate administrative leave, one tweet said. That's code for paid vacation until this blows over. Fire them, pending investigation, another post said. What is there to investigate? We all heard the recording. They're guilty. Marcus saw the statement. He was up late too, unable to sleep. He read it and felt nothing. Just empty corporate words that meant nothing. Michelle called him. Their statement is weak. They're hoping this will go away. It won't. What do we do now? Marcus asked. Now we wait for the EEOC to do their investigation. And we keep the pressure on. I think you should do an interview. Something longer than a social media post. Let people hear your story in your own words, Marcus agreed. Michelle reached out to several news outlets. They chose a respected tech journalism site that promised to handle the story fairly. The interview was scheduled for Monday. Marcus would tell his full story. He would explain what it felt like to hear those words. He would talk about discrimination in tech. He would make sure this was not just a viral moment that people forgot about in a week. The weekend was a blur for Marcus. His phone never stopped ringing. Messages poured in from people he had not talked to in years. Old college friends, former coworkers, even some relatives he barely knew suddenly wanted to reach out. Most messages were supportive. People thanked him for his courage. They shared their own stories of discrimination. Black engineers from all over the country told him about similar experiences. Some had proof. Most did not. They had just accepted it as part of working in tech, but the hateful messages hurt. Anonymous accounts on Twitter called him names. Some people claimed he had edited the video. Others said he was destroying innocent people's lives for attention. A few messages were so vile that Andrea insisted he stop reading them. None of that matters, she told him Sunday night as they sat together on the couch. The kids were finally asleep. Those people are cowards hiding behind screens. What you did was brave. Marcus wanted to believe her, but doubt crept in. What if this ruined everything? What if no company would hire him now? What if he became known as the guy who recorded his interviewers instead of the talented engineer he actually was? I have the interview tomorrow, Marcus said. With that tech news site. You'll do great, Andrea assured him. Just tell the truth. That's all you need to do. Monday morning came. Marcus had taken the whole day off work. He told his current employer he was sick. That was not exactly a lie. He felt sick to his stomach with nerves. The interview was over video call. The reporter was a woman named Jessica Chen. She worked for one of the most respected tech journalism sites. Michelle had chosen her carefully because she was known for fair reporting. Marcus, thank you for talking with me, Jessica said when the call started. I know this has been a difficult time. Thank you for giving me a chance to tell my story, Marcus replied. For the next hour, Jessica asked questions. She let Marcus explain everything from the beginning. The job search, the excitement about Vertex, the technical interview with Sarah, the final cultural fit interview. When you first heard them talking, what went through your mind? Jessica asked. Marcus paused, remembering. Shock, complete shock. For a few seconds, I thought maybe I was hearing wrong. Maybe they were talking about someone else. But then Brad said my name, and I realized they were talking about me. To me, I was just a qualified candidate. To them, I was a problem they needed to find a reason to reject. Why did you decide to record it? Jessica asked. Because I knew no one would believe me otherwise, Marcus said honestly. If I told people what happened without proof, they would say I was being too sensitive. They would say I misunderstood. They would say I was playing the race card. But with a recording, there's no denying what they said. The evidence speaks for itself, Jessica nodded. The recording is very clear. Their comments were explicitly about your race. Yes, Marcus agreed. Brad said they always have names like that. Jennifer talked about not wanting me to interact with clients. They discussed finding fake reasons to reject me. This was not about my qualifications. It was pure discrimination. How did you feel in the moment? Jessica asked. Marcus took a breath. This was the hard part. Angry, hurt, humiliated. I've worked in tech for 10 years. I've built a good career through hard work. Every job I've gotten I earned. Every promotion I deserved. And these people were sitting there saying it meant nothing, that I only got where I am because of diversity quotas. That hurt more than anything. What do you want to come from sharing this story? Jessica asked. Marcus had thought about this question a lot. I want companies to know they can't do this anymore. I want other candidates to know they're not alone. And I want Vertex Solutions to face real consequences, not just a weak statement. Real change, the interview continued. Jessica asked about the response online, about the hateful messages, about his hopes for the future. Do you regret going public? She asked near the end. Marcus considered the question carefully. Sometimes. When I read the hateful comments or worry about my career, yes. But then I remember why I did this. If I stayed silent, nothing would change. Those 3 HR people would keep interviewing candidates. They would keep discriminating. Maybe next time, someone would not have a recording. They would just get rejected and never know why. So no, I don't regret it. This was the right thing to do. The article went live Tuesday morning. It was well written and fair. Jessica had included quotes from the recording, descriptions of what happened, and Marcus's perspective on discrimination in tech. She had also reached out to Vertex Solutions for comment. They had given her the same weak statement from before. The article got shared widely. It reached an even bigger audience than Marcus's original LinkedIn post. Now, people who did not use LinkedIn were hearing the story. It was being discussed on major news networks. Tech leaders were being asked about it in interviews. Meanwhile, at Vertex Solutions, things were falling apart. An external investigation firm had been hired to look into the HR department. They interviewed dozens of current and former employees. What they found was disturbing. The discrimination was not new. It was not isolated. It was a pattern. Several former employees came forward with similar stories. A Latina woman said Brad had made comments about her accent during her interview. An Asian American man said Jennifer had expressed surprise that he spoke English so well, even though he was born in California. A Black woman who had worked in marketing said she had filed complaints about the HR team 2 years ago, but nothing was done. The investigator also found emails and Slack messages that showed more bias. Brad had sent a message to Jennifer saying they should focus recruiting efforts on traditional channels that would bring in people who fit our culture. When Katie had suggested reaching out to historically Black colleges, Brad had replied, "Let's stick with the schools we know produce good candidates." All of this went into the investigation report. When Robert Hutchinson read it, he felt sick. This was not just 3 people making a mistake. This was a systemic problem in his company, and he had not seen it. The board of directors held an emergency meeting on Wednesday. They reviewed the investigation findings. They looked at the financial impact. 3 major clients had already suspended their contracts. Several others were threatening to leave. The company's reputation was in ruins. "We need to take decisive action," one board member said. "Agreed," said another. "This is a crisis. If we don't respond strongly, we're done." Robert knew what had to be done. "I'm terminating Jennifer Walsh, Brad Morrison, and Katie Stevens effective immediately. For cause. They won't get severance." "What about the VP of People Operations?" a board member asked. "Shouldn't she have caught this?" Robert nodded grimly. "I'm asking for her resignation. She failed in her oversight duties. Is that enough?" another board member challenged. "The public is calling for more than firings. They want to see real change." Robert had a plan. He had been working on it with his legal team and a DEI consultant they had brought in. "We're going to do a complete overhaul of our hiring practices. Third-party audits of all our processes. Mandatory bias training for everyone, not just HR. We're creating a diversity council with real power to investigate complaints. And we're setting up a scholarship fund for underrepresented minorities in tech." "How much is this going to cost?" the CFO asked. "A lot," Robert admitted. "But it will cost us more if we don't do it. We've already lost millions in contracts. Our stock price is down. We can't recruit right now because no one wants to work for the racist company. We have to make this right." The board voted to approve Robert's plan. Thursday afternoon, Vertex Solutions made a new announcement. This one was different from the weak statement they had issued before. Jennifer Walsh, Brad Morrison, and Katie Stevens had been terminated for cause. The VP of People Operations had resigned. The company apologized directly to Marcus Thompson. They outlined their new policies and commitments. They announced a $1 million scholarship fund. The statement ended with, "We failed Marcus Thompson and others who experienced discrimination at our company. We are committed to doing better." These changes are just the beginning. The public response was mixed. Some people praised Vertex for taking real action. Others said it was too little too late. Some questioned whether the changes would actually happen, or if this was just public relations. Marcus read the statement with Andrea at his side. "They fired them," Andrea said. "All three of them." Marcus nodded. He felt a strange mix of satisfaction and emptiness. The people who had said those hateful things about him had lost their jobs. But that did not undo what happened. It did not erase the hurt. "Is this what you wanted?" Andrea asked gently. "I don't know," Marcus admitted. "I wanted accountability. I got that. But it doesn't feel like victory. It just feels sad. Sad that this had to happen at all." His phone rang. It was Michelle Rodriguez. "Did you see the announcement?" she asked. "Yes," Marcus said. "This is a good outcome," Michelle told him. "Terminations for cause mean they're admitting wrongdoing. That strengthens your EOC case. We can probably negotiate a settlement now if you want." "How much?" Marcus asked. "Hard to say. Could be 6 figures. Maybe more. They want this to go away." Marcus thought about it. The money would help. They could pay off debt, save for the kids' college, fix up the house. But something else was happening that money could not buy. Marcus was getting job offers. Several companies had reached out to him directly. They had seen his story and were impressed by his courage. They wanted engineers like him, engineers with integrity who stood up for what was right. One company in particular caught his attention. A well-known tech firm with a great reputation. They offered him a senior engineering position with a significant raise. But more than that, they wanted his input on their hiring practices. They wanted him to help make sure what happened to him would not happen at their company. "They want me to be part of the solution," Marcus told Andrea. "Not just an engineer, but someone who helps shape how they hire and promote people." "That sounds perfect for you," Andrea said. It did sound perfect. Marcus had never thought of himself as an advocate. He was just an engineer who loved to code. But this experience had changed him. He could not unsee what he had seen. He could not unhear what he had heard. And now he had a platform to make a difference. Marcus called the company back and accepted their offer. He would start in a month. He also told Michelle to proceed with settlement negotiations with Vertex. But he had one condition. The settlement could not include a non-disclosure agreement. He would not agree to stay silent about what happened. "That's going to reduce the settlement amount," Michelle warned. "Companies pay more for silence." "I don't care," Marcus said. "I didn't go public just to shut up for money now. This story needs to stay public so other people know it can happen." Michelle smiled. "You're a good man, Marcus Thompson." 3 months had passed since the interview that changed everything. Marcus sat in his new office on his first day at his new company. The office had windows overlooking downtown Seattle. It was bigger than any workspace he had ever had before. But more importantly, it represented a new chapter in his life. His new job title was Senior Software Engineer and Inclusive Hiring Advisor. It was a unique position created specifically for him. He would spend 70% of his time doing what he loved, writing code and leading technical projects. The other 30% would be dedicated to helping the company improve its hiring and promotion practices. Marcus's new boss, Jennifer Park, stopped by his office that first morning. She was the VP of Engineering and had personally recruited him. "Welcome to the team," Jennifer said with a warm smile. "We're lucky to have you." "Thank you," Marcus replied. "I'm excited to be here. I want you to know that we mean it when we say we want your input on our processes," Jennifer continued. "You have a seat at the table. Your voice matters here." Marcus appreciated that. He had been nervous about this aspect of the job. He was an engineer, not an HR expert. But the company had assured him they wanted his perspective as someone who had experienced discrimination firsthand. The settlement with Vertex Solutions had been finalized 2 weeks earlier. Marcus received a substantial amount of money, though less than he could have gotten with a non-disclosure agreement. He did not care. The money was helpful, but his freedom to speak was more important. Marcus and Andrea had used some of the settlement money to pay off their car loans and credit card debt. They put the rest in savings for the kids' education. They also donated $10,000 to a nonprofit that helped underrepresented minorities break into the tech industry. If something good can come from what happened, let it be this, Marcus had told Andrea when they made the donation. Now, sitting in his new office, Marcus felt hope for the first time in months. The anger and hurt were still there. They would probably always be there to some degree, but they were joined now by purpose and determination. His phone buzzed. It was a calendar reminder. He had a speaking engagement next week at a tech diversity conference. When the conference organizers had reached out, Marcus had been hesitant. He was not a public speaker. He was an engineer. But Michelle had encouraged him to do it. Your story matters, she had told him. People need to hear it. Not just what happened, but how you handled it. You can inspire others to speak up. Marcus had agreed. He spent his evenings that week preparing his presentation. He titled it, When Silence Costs More Than Speaking Up. A Developer's Journey Through Discrimination. The conference was in San Francisco. Marcus flew out on a Thursday. The venue was packed with tech professionals, HR leaders, and diversity advocates. Hundreds of people wanted to hear him speak. Standing backstage before his presentation, Marcus felt nervous. His hands shook slightly. But then he thought about all the messages he had received from other people who had experienced discrimination. People who had stayed silent out of fear. People who wished they had spoken up. He was doing this for them. Marcus walked onto the stage. The audience applauded. He stood at the podium and looked out at all the faces. 3 months ago, I was just a software engineer looking for a new job, he began. Today I'm standing here because 3 people thought I could not hear them when they made racist comments about me during a job interview. He told his story. The room was completely silent except for his voice. He showed clips from the video recording. He heard gasps from the audience. Some people wiped tears from their eyes. I want to be clear about something, Marcus said near the end. I did not want to become a symbol or an advocate. I just wanted to do my job and support my family. But once I heard what those people said about me, I had a choice. I could stay silent and let them continue discriminating, or I could speak up and risk everything. He paused. I chose to speak up. And yes, it was hard. I got hateful messages. I worried about my career. I lost sleep. But I also gained something important. I gained my voice. And I used that voice to create change. The audience gave him a standing ovation. After his talk, dozens of people came up to thank him. Many shared their own stories. A young black woman told him she had experienced something similar, but had not reported it. She said his story gave her courage to file a complaint at her company. Thank you, she said with tears in her eyes. You made me feel less alone. That made everything worth it for Marcus. Back in Austin, the lives of Jennifer Walsh, Brad Morrison, and Katie Stevens had taken very different paths. Jennifer had tried to reinvent herself. She attempted to become a DEI consultant, claiming she had learned from her mistakes and wanted to help other companies avoid similar situations. It backfired spectacularly. Someone found her LinkedIn profile where she was promoting herself as a diversity expert and posted screenshots online. The response was brutal. The audacity, one comment read, "You were literally caught on video being racist and now you want to teach companies about inclusion?" Jennifer eventually deleted all her social media accounts. She left Texas and moved to a small town in Montana where no one knew her story. She took a job doing administrative work for a local business that did not do extensive background checks. Brad Morrison left the tech industry entirely. He could not find work anywhere. His name was too well known. Companies Googled him during the hiring process and found the story. No one wanted to take the risk. He eventually found work in his brother-in-law's construction business. It was physical labor, far from the comfortable office job he had once had. Brad was angry and bitter. He told himself he was the real victim, that Marcus had ruined his life over a private conversation. He refused to see his own role in what happened. His wife left him 6 months after the scandal. She said she did not know who he really was. The divorce was finalized quietly. Katie Stevens was different. She had been the youngest of the 3 HR professionals. She had stayed silent during that terrible conversation, which made her complicit, but she had not said the hateful words herself. Katie spent a lot of time reflecting on what happened. She realized that her silence had been a choice. She had chosen not to speak up because it was easier. Because she did not want to make waves. because she valued her comfort over doing what was right. She wrote a long letter to Marcus. She did not expect forgiveness. She just wanted him to know that she was truly sorry, that she understood the harm her silence had caused, that she was committed to being better. Marcus read the letter carefully. He showed it to Andrea. "Do you believe her?" Andrea asked. "I think so," Marcus said. "She seems genuinely remorseful." But words are easy. Actions matter more. Katie proved her sincerity through her actions. She found work at a small nonprofit that helped refugees find employment. The pay was much lower than her previous job. But Katie found the work meaningful. She helped people who faced discrimination every day. She learned to speak up when she saw unfairness. 2 years later, Katie would run into Marcus at a tech conference. He was speaking again. She approached him nervously after his talk. "I don't expect you to forgive me," Katie said, "but I wanted you to know that what happened changed me. I've spent every day since then trying to be the person I should have been in that moment." Marcus looked at her. He saw genuine remorse in her eyes. "I appreciate you saying that," he said. "I hope you mean it." "I do," Katie said. "What you did was brave. I was a coward. I'm working on being braver." Marcus nodded. He did not say he forgave her. He was not sure he could, but he acknowledged her growth. That was something. At Vertex Solutions, Robert Hutchinson had followed through on his promises. The company had undergone a complete transformation of its hiring practices. Third-party auditors came in quarterly to review processes. The Diversity Council had real power and had already flagged several problematic managers. The company's workforce became more diverse. Not overnight, but gradually. They recruited from a wider range of schools. They implemented blind resume reviews to reduce bias. They trained interviewers extensively on recognizing and countering their own biases. Some employees left. They did not like the changes. They felt the company was becoming too focused on diversity instead of merit. Robert let them go without trying to convince them to stay. "If you can't see the value in a diverse workplace, you don't belong here," Robert told his leadership team. Vertex slowly rebuilt its reputation. It took time. They lost some clients permanently, but they gained new ones who appreciated their commitment to change. The company was smaller than before, but healthier. Robert reached out to Marcus once. He asked if Marcus would be willing to meet for coffee. Marcus agreed, though he was wary. They met at a cafe in Austin during one of Marcus's visits to see family. Robert looked older and more tired than in his photos online. "I wanted to apologize in person," Robert said. "Not just for what Jennifer, Brad, and Katie did, but for creating a culture where that kind of thinking could exist. I should have seen it. I should have stopped it before it got to you." Marcus appreciated the apology. "What are you doing differently now?" he asked. Robert explained all the changes. He showed Marcus data on their hiring metrics. He talked about the challenges and the resistance they had faced. "It's not perfect," Robert admitted. "We still have work to do. But we're trying. Really trying." "Keep trying," Marcus said, "and hold people accountable when they slip up. That's the only way things change." Marcus and Andrea used some of their settlement money to start a nonprofit organization. They called it Level Ground, and its mission was to provide interview preparation and career coaching for underrepresented minorities in tech. They started small. Just Marcus volunteering a few hours a week to mentor young engineers. Andrea handled the administrative side while continuing her day job. They ran workshops on weekends teaching people how to prepare for technical interviews, how to negotiate salaries, and how to recognize discrimination when it happened. Word spread. More volunteers joined. They got donations from companies that wanted to support their mission. Within a year, Level Ground was helping dozens of people every month. Marcus met a young black computer science student named Jordan at one of their workshops. Jordan was brilliant but lacked confidence. He had faced discrimination before and was nervous about entering the tech workforce. "I don't know if I belong in this industry," Jordan admitted to Marcus during a one-on-one mentoring session. Marcus heard his own doubts reflected in Jordan's words. "You belong anywhere you choose to be," Marcus told him. "Your skills matter. Your ideas matter. You matter. Don't let anyone make you think otherwise." "But what if something like what happened to you happens to me?" Jordan asked. "Then you'll handle it," Marcus said. "You'll decide whether to speak up or not. Either choice is valid, but know that if you do speak up, There are people who will support you. You're not alone. Jordan nodded. Over the next few months, Marcus watched him grow more confident. Jordan landed an internship at a good company, then a full-time job offer. He called Marcus to thank him. "You changed my life," Jordan said. "You changed your own life," Marcus replied. "I just helped you see what was already there." 5 years after the interview, Marcus received an unexpected email. It was from Sarah Chen, the hiring manager at Vertex who had wanted to hire him in the first place. "Marcus, I don't know if you remember me." The email began, "I was the person who interviewed you technically at Vertex. I wanted to reach out because I recently left the company and started my own software business. I'm building it with the values I wish Vertex had shown you. I'd love to talk to you about possibly consulting for us on our hiring practices. No pressure. I just thought you should know that watching what you went through changed how I think about leadership." Marcus smiled as he read the email. He replied that he would be happy to talk. That evening, Marcus sat on his back porch with Andrea. Their kids were inside doing homework. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. "Do you ever regret it?" Andrea asked. "Going public with the video?" Marcus thought about the question. He thought about the hate messages and the sleepless nights, the stress and the fear, but he also thought about Jordan and the dozens of other people Level Ground had helped. He thought about the companies that had changed their policies after hearing his story. He thought about the conversations his story had started. "No," Marcus said finally. "I don't regret it. What happened was terrible. But what came after, that mattered. I helped people. I made things better, even if just a little bit." "You made things better a lot," Andrea corrected him. Marcus reached for her hand. "We made things better. I couldn't have done any of this without you." They sat in comfortable silence as the stars started to appear in the darkening sky. Marcus thought about the engineer he had been 5 years ago. That person would not have imagined this life. That person had just wanted a good job and a quiet career. But sometimes life does not give you what you want. Sometimes it gives you what you need. Sometimes it gives you purpose. Marcus Thompson had not wanted to become an advocate. He had not wanted to be known for a viral video about discrimination. He had just wanted to be an engineer, but he had become something more. He had become a voice for people who needed one, a mentor for those who came after him, a reminder that speaking up mattered, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Inside the house, Marcus's son called out, "Dad, can you help me with my homework?" Marcus stood up. "Coming," he called back. He went inside to help his son with math problems. Just a dad helping his kid, just a man living his life. But a man who had stood up when it mattered. A man who had chosen courage over silence, and that made all the difference.